The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.net.
Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with hosts MJ, H-Train, and Terry. Each week we put today's news into perspective. Join us on Facebook, X, YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, or anywhere you get your podcast. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
Here we are.
Yeah, that wasn't loud or anything. Welcome, everybody.
Well, at least we got your attention, right?
Right? Oh, boy.
Well, here we are, another Monday.
Here we are, and today we're not going to be doing like as the White House turns because we were so busy today. I didn't get the chance to do any of that show prep, everybody. But I tell you what, a lot of stuff is going on in the news. A lot of crazy stuff,
A lot of crazy stuff.
And before we get started, I just want to say real quick to every military or first responder influencer, or even if they're not in the military, or even if they're not even if they're just a influencer, that we get so mad at the media for adding fuel to the fire, and it seems like these influencers that we have, like TikTok and all these other social media, like now they're starting to do the shit because they want the clicks or they want the views. Just know that none of us are experts. And sometimes we need to let the stuff play out and quit being so dramatic. Because in a world that we live in that's so cynical today, everybody is so over dramatic anymore. And we need to watch that. We need to watch it because it's not helping everybody's I don't want to sell mental health. It's not helping people's mental health, because they got their lives that they've got to deal with. And then, a lot of people on social media, I mean, just don't do it, people. Just don't make a mole out of an anthill or anthill out of a molehill or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So, how was your day today, Terry?
It was good. A lot of lessons learned today.
Oh boy.
But I agree with you on, sensationalizing headlines or over dramatizing what's happening, because if you're doing that, it really stresses people out. Number one. Number two, it scares them too. And it's not helpful to anybody. It's like either just give the facts as they are in a straightforward manner, but don't over sensationalize what you're saying or over dramatizing what you're doing, because it isn't helpful for anybody. As H said, it really isn't. It just adds stress and it adds a layer of confusion and then maybe hostility over something, because if you give misinformation or only part of what's going on and you're not telling the whole picture, then somebody is only hearing bits and pieces of what really is happening, and that might spin them up too and cause them to be upset and cause them distress, and really and truthfully, that's not what anybody wants.
Right. And so yesterday I've sent, there's this one guy, I forget his name, he's on TikTok. And you can definitely tell that he's wide left. Like, he does not cut it in the middle, like I've always talked about, cutting it in the middle. And this guy's just like wide left, and he's a journalist. Well, he's trying to be a journalist. Okay, he comes on the air, and he's like, the Trump administration, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And it's almost like I feel that he's always daggering the right, never the left. And whenever somebody always pushes the left compared to the right, like I instantly unfollow them because I'm like, I don't need to hear that. If I wanted to do that, then I watch CNN or I'd watch CNNC, and I don't even watch Fox News either because they tend to do the same damn thing. And yesterday I just got so upset. I'm like, you know what? I blocked him. I didn't block him because he was making me feel bad or he was bullying me. I blocked him because you know what? I just don't feel like putting those kind of weeds in my garden.
And that's what they are. They're weeds. They're not
Yeah.
flowers. They're not vegetables. They are weeds that
Yeah.
are toxic.
And and I'm telling everybody that's watching today that it's okay. It's okay for you to block somebody. It is. It's okay for you to block somebody, and it's okay for you to unfriend somebody if they're bothering your peace of mind. Life should be, and I don't care what anybody says. It might be my TBI. I don't care. Life should be all about rainbows and unicorns. Okay. Anybody that changes that, you don't need them in your life. You don't need that negativity. So just get rid of that negativity.
Yeah. Just cut it out.
Yeah.
Because people in the journalist world and the news reporting world are obligated to give the whole picture, not one side, not the other side, but just a general overview of what's going on. And when they tend to go left, they tend to go right, or they tend to not report what really is going on, what only matters to them. They're not doing the public service, and they're not doing what they should be doing. That's in their job,
Yep.
in their wheelhouse. And I was listening to somebody talk about somebody popular, and that had been recently fired and then rehired. And what and what they said was,
Is this Jimmy McCricket?
I don't know, it could be, but what they said is that when you stop kind of giving the information in the true fashion that it's presented, like these are the facts, this is what's happening, and you only slant it one way, you're only slanting it towards your opinion or to make fun or make light or to bully somebody, then you're not doing the public service that you were supposed to be doing as a public facing in person or entity, or show, where you're trying to just give the public what they really need is the information, not your opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's what he was talking about. And I agreed with him, because really that's what should happen is you shouldn't give me a left-leaning view. You shouldn't give me a right-leaning view. You should give me the information and let me make my own decision. It shouldn't be your decision or your vantage point. It should be, give me the information and I'll make a decision. And same for everybody else. Give them the information, allow them to make their decision, whatever that is. If that's left, that's right, that's in the middle, if that's no opinion at all.
I agree. Hey, check this out, everybody. So before we go any further, StreamYard has this new option that we're getting ready to do. It is a QR code thing. You're gonna see it on your left. Bing! Whoa! Look at that! How magic that is!
That was magic.
Check this out. We have 31 shows on this network, and I kind of got on my soapbox this morning, and just kind of motivated my veterans and told them, sometimes it's nice to be in front of the spotlight, but we need to follow up. We need to help empower veterans behind the scenes also, or we're just considered hypocrites. And that goes to everybody. Well, the reason why I bring that up is because this QR code, when you hit that QR code, you buy a wreath. Okay. So it's going to help MBR, but it's going to help Reefs Across America as well. Okay. And, we need to, especially if you have a loved one, all right? Sometimes people just can't make it out and put a wreath on their gravestone, and you don't want your loved one to go without a gravestone. I mean, how embarrassing is that? You go in there and then there's no wreath on this gravestone. We will place that wreath on your loved one's gravestone if you buy the wreath with Reefs Across America. We promise you that. Okay, let's it's not that much, it's a haircut. Okay, but if you could do us a solid, we would really appreciate it. Just buy a wreath from us, and we'll put it on the gravestone, because December is just around the corner.
It is. Yeah, and so we're going to play a little ad here in a minute that talks about what that goes to and what the program is all about. But basically, you can honor somebody in memoriam. So somebody that's passed, you can have a wreath dedicated in their name, and have it placed on a headstone. But you can also honor somebody living and then allow them to be the one whose name goes for supporting that veteran that's passed, and getting them the credit basically for showing gratitude towards the service of others. So really it can go either way. And really you're doing two different things with buying a wreath. You're helping a nonprofit that's helping veterans. And then the other side of that, you're helping Reefs Across America in a program that's very important to veterans and recognizing veteran service, and you're also recognizing a veteran. So somebody that's passed, you're actually honoring them by having that wreath provided. So unless you choose a specific location for the wreath, all of them are going to go to Arlington National, and then they'll be placed by the people that help. There's a bunch of different groups that go out and help place wreaths. I know the Legions do, the VFWs do. There's veteran organizations that do. And in Denver, MBR does some placement of wreaths. So it's all across the nation. This program is nationwide. It's not specific to a state, but the wreaths program that the national one takes it to Arlington National, but you can select your place that you want to have it placed, what the grave site that you want to have it placed on. You can just, honor somebody. I gave somebody one for their birthday gift, and I told them where it was going to be placed, and they thought that was a really, really neat gift that they got to honor.
I love your
else.
heart, Tracer. That is so sweet of you. I love your heart about that. And another person I love their heart, because they're watching. They're being very sneaky. Oh, now they message. Red is watching. We want to give a shout out to Red, because he's always supporting us and helping us fulfill our day with bad dad jokes, and we appreciate that. And Red, thanks for watching. Help beat that screen, help our self-esteem, kind of thing. So we thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. So since we're almost at the 15-minute mark, we'll go ahead and play the Reefs Across America ad. And so you'll hear more about the program. In case we didn't give you enough information, it should give you all the information that you need. And then when we come back from break, we'll talk about some other interesting things that happened today.
At Military Broadcast Radio, the goal is to offer a platform for mental health advocacy while connecting the military community through various media platforms. Founded by U.S. Army veteran Joel Hunt, MBR gives a voice to veterans, first responders, and their families through streaming radio, podcasts, video, and outreach events. With its leadership run completely by veterans and hosts of the diverse programming from all branches of service, MBR was created as a response to the silent battles veterans face after service. Military Broadcast Radio is also a Reefs Across America partner, hosting a $5 backed sponsorship group page. For every Veterans Wreath sponsored through the Military Broadcast Radio page, MBR receives $5 back to help support their platforms and outreach. Veteran and first responder stories need to be told and shared. And with your support, MBR can continue to bring together veteran nonprofits, mental health organizations, and government agencies to bridge the gap between veterans and vital resources. To find out more and donate, visit wreathacrossamerica.org/MBR.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
And we're back.
I love that song.
I don't even know what it is. Is it a song or is it just like music?
I don't know. It is brought to you by Man Talk.
Oh, nice.
Man Talk, the Man Show. You know.
Yeah, you have to catch them on Fridays at 6 or is it 6 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yep.
Yes.
You know, when you're in the car with your wife, make sure you roll up the windows before you fart. Be a man.
Oh,
You know,
no.
No, I'm teasing. All right,
Roll it down. Roll them down.
So you was talking to me about this. The first thing that you want to talk about, and I was kind of intrigued. Let's look into that.
So today I went to a company, a brand new company to me, brand new cutting edge technology.
Yeah.
It's called Holistic Spine and Chiropractic. And they have some cutting edge technology that they've been rolling out. And they actually sampled one of the technology on me today. And I have to tell you, it made a huge difference.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
called shockwave therapy.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, and you'd think it sounds really like awful. Like you're like, why would I want you to do that to me?
Yeah, it's not like Ghostbusters where he shows the card and if you get it, it's not that episode, okay?
Yeah, you're not
totally
getting
different.
You're no zapping involved.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a modern, highly effective treatment method that uses acoustic waves to penetrate deep into the tissues, promoting increased blood flow, reducing inflammation, and accelerating the natural healing process. So basically what it is, it's a little handheld tool and they press it on the area. So if it's your shoulder, if it's your back, or if it's your knee, your leg, wherever the pain typically is. And so this is for like something that's chronic and other therapies haven't worked for it. So if you have like a shoulder, they take this tool and they run it down the shoulder, down the path of wherever the trouble is. So wherever you're having the most pain or the most soreness, tightness, whatever type of pain you're having. And they can turn this little tool up several different notches. So it's more aggressive, but basically it's air. And when they point this air on those certain muscles, you actually feel it in other parts of your body. Like it kind of radiates in other areas.
Is it like a tuning fork?
Not, I mean, maybe sort of in a way, I suppose, but it really, it's loud, like somebody's tapping on something. So it's a little noisy, not terribly noisy, but it makes some noise that if at first you're not prepared for it, you might go, what in the world is that behind me if you're working on your back? But so it's air pressure basically that's being blown into the muscle, and it's almost like it's a pulsating massage like you would get in the shower almost. If you have one of those shower heads that do the massage and do the different settings, but it penetrates deep into the muscle. And so what it really does is tells the brain, oh, look, there's something that's happened here. We need to send a bunch of blood to help fix it. So it thinks it's an injury almost. And so it sends extra blood flow to that area because it's almost like it's supposed to simulate an injury. You don't get injured, believe me. No injuries are involved today, but it like simulates an injury. And then so the brain says, okay, we need to send stuff to heal this. So it increases the blood flow to help, get that area, the soreness and everything worked out. And so it takes, a couple therapies to have this happen, but it's brand new technology. And she said, "Well, how do you feel after you've had this?" And I said, "I feel like a backpack has just been taken off. I feel like my rucksack has been taken off my back." So,
Wow.
you have a 55-pound rucksack and you've just lightened your load by taking it off and putting it on the ground. Well, that's what it felt like. It felt like just that one short treatment of it. It was probably 10 minutes to 15 minutes max.
And is that supported by like the VA?
So they do have some support from the VA for some of their programs. They have others too that I'm very interested in. I did talk to them about having maybe some veterans try some of the therapies and maybe get VA engaged with it as a provider for this therapy, since the VA doesn't have any of these. But this shockwave therapy is very, so far for the first treatment, I say it's a win. I recommend it. So I'm looking forward to having a couple other treatments and finding out how, because I've had this pain for 10 years or better, a long time. It's just chronic. It doesn't go away. And then she said, "Well, what's your pain level?" And I said, "Well, my pain level is it's always there. So it doesn't really bother me anymore because I'm just used to it." I said, "But it's probably an 8." She goes, "Oh, an 8 is bad. You don't want an 8. Let's see what we can do." So she did the therapy and it's like, wow, it felt like a whole weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like I was a lot lighter than I was before. So I'm having to say I would recommend this shockwave therapy by Holistic. I don't know if anybody else has heard of it or has one in their area. I know there's
that's what I was getting ready to say is my captain Michael Payne, that was my captain in 82nd Engineers. I think it was last year because I was having some trouble with this, and I was going through the hydrobarics chamber, and it helped me a lot. And he was telling me about this therapy. So it is new, but it's been out for a while.
Yeah.
But there's so many therapies out there. But the key thing is trying to find one that is supported or that has scholarships or the VA will support paying for it, or even like Medicare or something. And you would think those government insurances would snack up and pay for it right away, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't always. From what she said, that the provider I have, I mean, because I have the VA too, but the provider I have on my civilian side will pay for this. So I'm very happy to find that out. But then so they showed me the whole office, and there's all kinds of therapies involved in this office. So 3 of the main ones. One of them was the shockwave, but the other one is a machine that does peripheral magnetic stimulation, or PMS is what they call it for short. And when they said that, I giggled, but it doesn't stand for what you think it stands for. And then they had the other one, and it's kind of with the same machine. It's transcranial magnetic stimulation. And so basically what she told me is this transmagnetic stimulation is good for people that have TBIs, have PTSD, have anxiety, have major depressive disorders, because what it does is this magnet really just retrains the brain. It opens up things that have been shut off for a while and re-engages them. They do a before, they do during, and then they do an after treatment. But what they did say is with this transcranial magnetic stimulation that you have to go so many days successively in a row to get the most benefit from the therapy. Like you have to go daily for a while to get this therapy complete, like a cycle of it complete. But it does help with mental clarity. And if you have OCD, things like that, that's really, I mean, OCD in and of itself is not a bad thing, but excessive OCD where you can't really function well because you're so worried about something, it does help with that too. And she did give an example of this therapy where someone was very depressed, like manically depressed, and she couldn't get up for work. She couldn't do any of her chores. She couldn't get dressed. She couldn't shower. She just
Oh, wow.
she just couldn't get herself to do anything. She lost her relationship with her husband. She just she got a divorce because she just couldn't manage her depression. And so she had to move in with her mom. And so her mom had suggested her going to this therapy, and she tried this therapy, and it helped. It helped immensely. She was able to go to work. She was able to go do chores. She was able to, just kind of regain some of her life. And the mom said, this was the best Mother's Day present I've ever bought myself. So she bought it for her daughter, but it really was for her because it helped her daughter so much that that's really where her passion was her daughter. And this helped her daughter so much. So I was really impressed with hearing about the success stories of it. And they have done some veterans. And I told them, I said, really what I'd like to see is the VA engaged with this, and then see, try it out, see if it works, really do some studying to see if it's really going to help veterans, because I told her that's my passion, and I really want to know if that's something that can work, because I'd really like to see how the VA can engage with this therapy, because they did say it really does help with PTSD and TBIs and just mental clarity in general. And she did say that there was one person that she had treated, and for 6 years he could not feel his foot, could not feel it. No matter what treatments they tried, no matter what they did, couldn't feel his foot. They did this transcranial magnet stimulation on him. He felt his foot again. Finally, after 6 years, he was able to feel his foot, because of the different neurons in the brain firing in the right orders and getting, back into balance. Because there's three, okay, so don't quote me because I don't know what the three are, but there's three brain waves that are important, and all of them need to be moving at the same levels up and down. And if one of them is out of balance of the others, that's what causes problems. So all of these functioning at the same height, because it's a peak basically. So if you're looking at a graphic chart, it goes up and it goes up to a point, and then they can both fall, but they all should go up about in the same amounts for you to be firing on all cylinders, basically.
So I got the details for you so that we can get that, and then we got some breaking news that
oh no, what is it?
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh, no.
But anyways, for this though, when people talk about the three brainwaves, they might mean three major types of neural oscillations. Yeah, of course, I'm not going to pronounce that shit. Okay, brainwaves typically measure via EEG. Below are details on the three brainwaves. It is delta, theta, and alpha.
Yes.
Delta is 0.5 to 4 hertz. MJ's talked about this. Interesting. Deep, dreamless, non-REM sleep, unconscious states. Basically, with these brain waves, you can hear sounds, music, and stuff, and it can kind of heal. That's the reason why they say music is, therapeutical, unless you're listening to Nickelback, and then it's abuse. Theta, 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 hertz, light sleep, twilight stage, drowsiness, meditation, daydreaming, and then finally alpha, 8. It has like a little squeak line. I don't know if that's a negative or what. I don't know what I'm talking about. Negative 8 to 12 hertz, awake but relaxed, calm states, especially when eyes are closed and mind at its ease. While the three brainwaves are often simplifications, neurologic scientists typically reference 5 canonical bands, and I'm sure I screwed that up too. Here are 2 additional important ones: beta, which is squeaky line 1230 hertz, occurs during active focus, alertness, problem solving, when you're engaged, planning, or worried. Beta waves tend to dominate. And then last but not least, gamma, which is, I have no idea what the arrow means, okay, but it's 30 hertz, often 30 to 100 plus hertz, seen in high level cognitive function, attention, memory binding, consciousness. It's hard to detect cleanly with a scalp EEG because interference from the muscle signals. So that's something that I learned today. And that was brought to you by ChatGPT.
Right. Well, she did say that it helps with ADHD too. If you really struggle with ADHD, it helps
Yeah.
with that too. But what she did say too, which feeds into the veterans mission for wind therapy,
Yeah.
what she said was, so she said two things. She said, your best sleep that you're going to get is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. That's the best sleep time. And then she said from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. is when you should get some real sunlight. So being out on a bike or being outside in direct sunlight for 45 minutes during that time frame will help with all these cognitive the vitamin D, and with all the like the clarity, and with like lifting mood and all those enhancing things. She said that is the premium time for you to be outside. So it ties right into motorcycles. And that's why you like to ride, because
Hell yeah.
you get your sun therapy then and your wind therapy. So you're killing two birds with one stone,
Your vitamin.
figuratively.
Is it vitamin D or B?
It's D.
It's D, yeah.
I
Vitamin
think so.
D.
I think so.
Vitamin D.
Unless somebody wants to correct me, and then I'm happy to be corrected.
Well, hey, before we go on break, let me read these breaking news.
Okay.
So this isn't good news, okay? But and I just don't know where to go. I will tell you, I told my wife last night that I'm getting to the point where I think I'm gonna get some of that, like, that rhino liner that you put on like the bed truck or whatever for your bed liner.
Yep.
I'm thinking about getting some of that and painting it on my walls in my house, because you cannot literally go anywhere anymore without worrying about being shot up. There's a Michigan church in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan.
Yeah.
A gunman drove a pickup truck through the entrance of a Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints chapel, opened fire on worshipers, and set the building in place. Death, injuries, at least 4 people killed, 8 wounded. Suspect identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford, 40, a former U.S. Marine. He was shot and killed by police. Motive investigation. Authorities are treating it as a targeted act of violence. Investigators are combing through the suspect's devices, home, and potential connections. Other details: search crew in the ruined church found no additional bodies beyond the confirmed victim. Additional note: the suspect had, well, we're not even going to go through that. Okay, he had signs of right wing, like, visible outside his home per public records, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter if it's a right wing or a left wing symbol or a sign. Either way, they're nuts. Okay, they're nuts. They're not right in the head. Exactly. Okay. Then we have North Carolina. This is the one that happened, I think, earlier this morning. North Carolina waterfront bar, Southport, North Carolina. A gunman opened fire from a boat onto patrons gathered at a waterfront bar, the American Fish Company in Southport, killing 3 people, injuring 5. Suspect charges. The suspect is Nigel Edge, aka Sean DeBevos. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it doesn't really make a difference because I don't care. He's 40, a Marine veteran. You guys, if you're in the military, check on your buddies, okay? Because that's what this is. It's mental health. We're going crazy. We're going weird. We feel like we're alone. We're second guessing ourselves. Just check on your buddies. He faces murder charges. Prosecutors have signaled intent to seek the death penalty, and authorities describe the attack as highly premeditated and targeted. And I bet it was. Most of these shootings and stuff, what they stem from, and I'll just say right now, they stem from bullying. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that they're, that they have legit reasons, but I was talking to somebody. I was telling you about this. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. How they were talking like rumors and talking about stories and stuff. And like, if somebody's nuts, if somebody's crazy, or they're just not all there, they're not mentally at that level, don't talk about them. Don't even respond to them, because it takes nothing to hurt somebody these days. And people need to realize that we live in a society where not everybody's stable. And when you realize that, you realize the importance why you really need to love everybody. And before you sit there and judge somebody or get upset with them or yell at them or get mad, try to think, okay, why are they acting this way? And you're not going to answer it, but it might give you an indication. Okay, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and step back and give them some time, because I don't know what they're capable of doing. That's where we're at today. I don't think it's a gun problem. I think it's we are underestimating people and not realizing what people are capable of today. We think that it can't happen to us, and it can.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you do have to be careful. And like you say, it's a mental health issue. It's not a gun issue. It's a mental health issue. And do check on your buddies. And that's why I was bringing up that therapy, because if that can help 3, 4, 5, 10 veterans, 20 veterans, all the better. That's that many less suicides or less situations like what you're talking about, H, where they've just kind of come off the rails and kind of went one way that they shouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
And then, tragedy happens, and we just don't want that.
And you need to check on your buddy, not when they're posting pictures on Facebook or going to football games or watching stuff. Okay. You need to check on your buddies when they're quiet, when they're not talking. That's when you need to, we had a host, and I won't mention her name, but she knows who she is. And, I told her I was very, very proud of her, and she reached out to me and she's like, hey, have you talked to your battle? And I'm like, no, I haven't, and I called him just to check on him, and he's like, yeah, I'm having a rough time, but I'm okay, and I'm like, all right, well, and we're talking back and forth, but she was exactly right. I haven't heard from him. If your battles are quiet, if you haven't heard from somebody, check on them. Just say, hey, I was thinking of you. I didn't want you to forget me, so I'm sending you a message just to say hi. What harm is that? Check on your battle buddies, guys. Check on your friends.
Yeah.
Because if you check on your friends, I guarantee you, some of these shootings won't happen, because you're looking out for everybody. If you're looking out for people and you're calling them just to see how they are, that won't happen. The suicides won't happen. But I'll get off my soapbox, because I know that we have to go on another break. But when we come back, what are we going to be talking about, Trace?
Well, one of two things. So you can decide which we talk
Okay.
about, or maybe we'll have time for both.
Okay.
But I think we need to talk about fit, hiring for fit versus hiring for skill.
I like it.
Yeah.
So everybody stay with us. Don't go away. You're listening to the show that goes beyond the headlines right here on the station that's letting our veterans be heard, MBR.
And we're going to hear Die Tired, Why Won't You Wake Up?
Take a minute, take a moment, take your time, let it set setting right. Let it drive right down in your conscious tide. Lean into the better times. 'Cause in a minute, in a moment, you'll notice a shining light, one that draws you in from deep inside. Reach out and connect tonight. You know my name. What colors do you see? Influence reality. And figures and shapes, alive for you and me. Influence reality. 'Cause there's a second, there's a session, there's a something that comes to you. Trails that lead us to and through. Elevate to new. 'Cause there's a second, there's a session, there's a something that holds them tight. Let you see this world through brand new eyes. Reach out and connect tonight. You know my name. What colors do you see? Influence reality. Figures and shapes, alive for you and me. Influence reality. Why won't you wake up? 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 You know my name. Figures and shapes, alive for you and me. Influence reality. Why won't you wake up? 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 Why won't you wake up?
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
And that's the new Die Tired song, Why Won't You Wake Up?
Hell yeah! Oh,
Yeah.
should we make the announcement, or should we wait on what we have cooking?
I don't know. What do you think? Should we tell them?
You know what? Let's build their suspense. Let's build their suspense. But we have something that's incredible. That's coming up. That's cute. That's for all ages, and we can't wait to get that launched. Me and Tracer has been spending months on this nice little event that we're created. So just keep on tuning in and watch our show, and you'll learn more about it. Also, I don't know if everybody knows, but we are now covering and hosting Battleground Pro Wrestling. Our first event was Saturday. Very interesting. Very interesting. Learned a lot, laughed a lot, laughed a whole lot. You can check that episode on our Roku channel.
Yeah.
And the next, I believe the next event is October 20. I think it's October 20. It's the last Saturday of every month. So whenever that is, I can't remember if it's October 27th or 29th. And when it gets closer, we'll have a QR code on that. And the nice thing about that QR code is when you hit that QR code, you are not only helping veterans and MBR, but also you can buy a ticket for a veteran or first responder so that when they show up at the door, they get automatic admission in. And tickets aren't as bad as like WWE. I mean, they're like, $20-$30. They're not that bad, and it's going to a great cause. And it was hilarious. But you can watch it on TV now. So tell me about this fit and skill, Trace.
Well, I will, but first, Miami's up, by the way. So Jets 0, Miami 3, and we're at the end of the first quarter. So just so you know. So Miami's winning so far.
That means I bet my fantasy. Oh yeah, I've lost fantasy football. Shit. Okay. Why are they doing a doubleheader today? The Broncos are playing the Cincinnati Bengals as well. I don't get that.
Go Broncos.
Right, go Broncos.
That's right.
Anyways, all right.
So when you're hiring for, or if not necessarily even hiring, so when you're filling a position, so it could be a volunteer position, could be a paid position. When you're a hiring manager and you're viewing tons and tons of resumes, you're looking through them and going, oh yeah, that has the skill. That's exactly what I was looking for. This person, they're at that level, automatic shoe in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just because somebody has the skill set doesn't mean they're a fit, because fit in an organization is so much more than having that skill set already learned, because the right fit can be trained for that skill set, but the person that has the skill set can't necessarily be trained to be a fit for the organization. So you can have somebody that has all the skills, they have all the certification, they have this thing, they have that thing. They look good on paper, they look like they fit, but when you actually interview them and you say, okay, so these are our culture norms, these are what we do in this organization, and they don't meet any of those, just because they have the certifications doesn't mean that's the best hire. Somebody without those certifications, but with the right mindset and the right philosophy and those cultural norms that you have in your organization, those are more important, because if you have somebody that's constantly going against the norms, constantly butting up against them, saying, I don't understand, I don't like this, this isn't what I want, this isn't the way I work, this isn't the way I do business,
right,
just causes a disruption in the workplace. So even though you think you're getting the best person for the job because you've got the person that's certified,
right,
does not mean they're the best fit.
it's called uncoachable. It's called uncoachable.
Yes. So when you're hiring for any position, could be paid or unpaid, but when you're filling a position, when you're filling a role in a nonprofit, in a for-profit, in whatever, personal business, your own home business, you're adding somebody, make sure that the person you're hiring is a fit for your culture. Make sure that their values align with your values, because if they do not, you're constantly going to be at odds, constantly. And it's going to be very tiring for you as the manager or your employees that have to work with this person, because their values and their mission set doesn't align with the culture of the company. And too many times that's what happens, is you hire because, on their resume, they have all these things.
They have all the skills.
Yes.
They have all the skills. And the bad thing is, the one thing that you can't check on a resume is empathy and work ethic. You can't do that. And it's really important, because with the work ethic, if they aren't pulling their weight, or if they're not helping their person to the right and a person to the left, build them up. It doesn't matter how great you are. You know, a good leader is somebody that can make people around them better. And that's what's going to push your organization, your company. And that's ultimately what you want. Gary V, he's an influencer that, a motivational speaker. I really enjoy him, because, the biggest thing that he talks about, and he's so right, is empathy. Like you can go to you can have a master's degree in like 5 different things. But if you don't have empathy and you can't if you can't talk with people or work with people with heart, you can't lead them.
Right.
Sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's about other people. And no, people want to work with somebody that cares about them. And that's, yeah.
Yeah. And so, really and truthfully, you shouldn't, so if I was a leader and I wouldn't want somebody to just find me just because I'm the leader. If I'm the smartest person in the room, then I'm in the wrong room, because you should hire smart people around you, because the team is what gets the work done. You don't get the work done, the team does. So if you're just, immediately who the leader is in the group, then you're in the wrong group, because all of you should be leaders, because you should empower everybody to know their role and know what they do and be the SME or the subject matter expert for that thing. So you as the leader shouldn't have to know everything. You just need to put the right people in place that know how to do those things, because you aren't the smartest person in the room. These other people are subject matter experts at what they do, and they're bringing that value to the team.
I tell you what, you're exactly right. And I don't know if I should bring this up on the broad. I got a text from a friend, Broadcast Beaker, the mascot, has got a makeover. Maybe maybe before we leave the day or whatever, let me see if I can. I'll save it and we'll share it. But Miss Vicky, a good friend of MBR's, she just sent me the thing. I'm gonna send it to you in a message tracer. You can we can upload it if you want to. If we don't want to, it's totally up to you. But I think it's pretty cute. I'm sending it right now. But we have our mascot, and really excited about it. And he's gonna go everywhere with us. But since you the videos and since the pictures, I think it's pretty cute. So I love it. But no, you're exactly right. And I think that's a good lesson for everybody. It's a lesson, I think, that you can have all the education in the world, but if you can't provide empathy and your leadership style, then and it's totally being coachable. You got to be coachable,
Yeah.
I wish everybody was a good fit here at MBR. I really do, because remember the time where we was getting a bunch of people and I kept making up channels because I didn't want to turn people away. But the thing is MBR is hard. It is. It's hard because you have to do your own sounds. You have to do your own prepping. You have to do your own producing. You have to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you have to care about your brothers and sisters, not just one day, but every single day.
Yeah.
You have to hear them. You have to listen to them. And not everybody is a fit for MBR, and if they're not a fit for MBR, I'll still root for you. We have a lot of
Absolutely.
people that aren't part of MBR anymore. I still root for you. You're still a person. I still love you as a battle. Sometimes it's just not the right fit for you, and instead of ruining the way you're brought up or ruining your what's the word I'm looking for?
Your platform, the way you want to
Yeah,
produce your own show, then then it's
yeah,
best that you find a platform that fits you and
right.
fits
Yeah,
what
I
you
was
want to
so
do.
scared. I was so scared when I was a team leader when I was in the military because, like, I worried about my soldiers, doing the PT, getting their clean clothes, getting their lunch, getting their food in them, doing, the classes, I correspondent courses,
Mhm.
because I felt like since I was a leader, I was in charge of making them a better person for life, for their
Mhm.
family. That was my job, and that's really important. Sometimes it's not just about the business. Sometimes it's about shaping people to be better leaders, to be better people in the community. Because look, you can have everything in the world, but if you're not making an impact, what are you doing on this world?
Right. And in any organization, your people are your most valuable asset. So if you're not taking care of your people, be them soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, be them volunteers, be them your paid employees, if you're not supporting them and valuing what they bring to the organization, then you're doing something wrong. You really have to value those people around you because if you're not, that's your greatest asset in
Yeah.
any organization.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good teaching moment. This is a good episode. That was a good. Before we end it, because we gotta end it here pretty
Yeah,
soon.
we do. We're getting
Um,
pretty close.
do you want to do you want to show the pictures?
Well, I'm thinking that if I do that, then I'm gonna blank out of the screen. So I decided I'm not even gonna attempt that operation
Okay.
because
All right.
otherwise you may
Well,
not see
we'll
me
leave
for
it
the
in
rest of the
suspense. We'll
episode.
show it another day.
Yes, we'll get him loaded for another time and you'll see them. I promise. He'll be making his rounds very soon, I'm sure.
Okay.
So we've got about 3 minutes. Any final thoughts?
Everybody, please check on your battle buddies, because even the strongest people need spotters in the weight room.
Yes, they do.
Okay,
That's true.
I had a vulnerable moment yesterday. We all have them, and I was lucky. I had some people reach out, some people support me, but some other people, they don't have that. They don't have family. Think about that before you get upset with somebody. Think about that before you get mad at somebody because they pulled out in front of you. Think about that when you're on the highway and they honk at you and they flip you off. Just think about that. Take a second and remember, maybe you're mentally a bit more stable than they are before you get upset. That's my final thoughts for today.
And I love it. I love it. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Until next Monday, we'll see you same time, same bat channel. And as I always say, we're here for you, not for us, giving our veterans a voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right.
We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.